So I hope I didn't omit anything important. Right, so maybe I'll start from my presentation. I'm going to talk about the history, the past of our activities of KSIB, which is Polish Biodiversity Information Facility. I will stress the importance of GBIF and the influence of GBIF. Then I will refer some information about our recent achievements, digitization projects, including IMBio. Then the current project, which is Polish GBIF node, and then the most important is at the final phase. I will try to summarize our thoughts about visions of the cooperation at the country level, just to show you the landscape of the biodiversity data sources and hosting institutions. So let's get started. In the beginning was GBIF, so to say. Our activities started in 2003, so like 22 years ago. GBIF itself will be explained to the deep by Joe. So I'm just showing the main messages we accepted at the very beginning, and this slide explains what GBIF was 20 years ago, and still it is true. It is of course more than this, but still all these main assumptions are valid. So it is an international organization consisting of countries and international organizations which agree to share the biodiversity data for free. And here it's not easy. Okay. For free and in the open manner, so that every person in the world can not only use them and see them, but also download them. This is actually it is in both information facility, which is information data infrastructure, and political organization, actually, consisting of countries. And it is also a large social network, because scientists participating in this enterprise are connected with personal links and through the fact of sharing data through this information system. The initial focus of the network was on species and specimen level data. Actually, the collections of organisms are behind the origin of GBIF. Now, more and more stress is put on the genetic DNA links. So more and more, you will see soon, still in this session, how we deal with this kind of data. And the data is absolutely free, although, of course, it is not the whole spectrum of world's biodiversity data. It's only the GBIF presents only data which people agreed and institutions agreed to be shared. The four more and more well-known letters, FAIR, refer to findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable, which is the main rule that we try to adjust to and present our data in this manner. It's not only this, actually, because we're trying to be fair. We're trying to be fair with other people, with other scientists, fair with nature. We try to find the best solution, because sometimes it is not easy task to present everything. Sometimes you have to make choices. Sometimes you have to keep the intellectual property rights. So it is not only those technical meaning here behind. Our activity of the network began 22 years ago, and nowadays we have 30 members representing the most prominent scientific institutions in Poland. Now I can say that all big players are on board, including institutes of Polish Academy of Sciences, including major universities and some other state institutes which take care on biodiversity data. So we share GBIF's goals and mission. We have potentially quite responsible tasks to be done at the country level. We try to think about it, and we try to find our role and play as a community of scientific institutions, play a more and more important role as of the platform to exchange information, platform to exchange data, and platform to shape the biodiversity data use and prospects for future. We have very large scope of taxonomic expertise, so all of us create the community, including colleagues from our universities and institutes who are capable to have something meaningful to be said about almost any organism group. Of course, there are some minor groups which are very difficult, and there are no people dealing with them actually at the moment. So sometimes it's a challenge, but the group is very large. And of course, the main problem is that over many years we were underfinanced, and we had some financial problems. And this is only now, after 20 years, that we spread our wings, actually. So these 4 elements of GBIF strategic framework are the most important topics or key messages we are trying to follow, which could be shortened to these key messages. So the first task is to prepare the data and to build the evidence for science, for research. So the network, GBIF network, and our goals are the same in this respect. We're trying to improve ourselves and to share the most reliable data we can produce. The second point is very important because the data should be, in the ideal world, at least, should be the basis for policy decisions. So the regulations, legal statements should always follow the science and scientific data. And biodiversity data use also already includes this, but in many cases it's not the fact, and we should work hard to influence our decision makers, and we should build our lobbying power to have the influence on the ministries based on the data we provide. Of course, the very important goal is to create the network and to build the infrastructure and to become more and more efficient and to develop, use new developments of new technologies to create the more efficient and more advanced tools for the analysis. So we want to provide the knowledge and tools we want to be useful for the society. We want to build our main goal, actually technical goal, strategic goal is to create the biodiversity data infrastructure, which is the most important thing, because this is all it is about the data. So the more advanced and more powerful we are in providing the data, the more useful they are. So we have to produce the data for the infrastructure for data exchange, for tools for data analysis, and services for exchange with external partners. And in the tactical terms, we want to achieve the level of financial stability. Of course, it's a dream of any institution, any organization, but so far we were based on the projects. So our activities were dependent on success or lack of the success in projects. So it shouldn't be so. To make these networks rigid and efficient, we should look for mechanism to become stable in financial terms. So we try to actually at the moment we are waiting for the evaluation of our submission to the National Research Infrastructure Roadmap. And we rely heavily on cooperation with GBIF and other infrastructures from the European Union, like Distributed System of Scientific Collections, DISCO. And we also look forward to looking for opportunities to cooperate with our partners beyond Poland, with international colleagues from other institutions and especially from the region. The GBIF as a infrastructure has many common things with DISCO, which is European infrastructure focused on collections. So GBIF is larger, GBIF is worldwide, GBIF cares also about observational data, while DISCO is focused on collections. I'm not going to get into the details too much, but we are trying to find a joint approach to create an entity which will be a partner both for GBIF and for DISCO. There were a number of projects focused on digitization in recent years, and this slide shows you the scale. Thanks to the governmental Digital Poland operational program, my estimations say that the investment at the country scale was like 23 million euro totally, which is 100 million zloty, 2/3 of which was connected directly with biological collections and biological data. So this is a list of the 5 big, large infrastructural or digitization, maybe more precisely, 5 large projects, of which one of which is Amunatko from University of Adam Mickiewicz of Poznań. There was a large consortium of institutes, mainly institutes of Polish Academy of Sciences. In English is inexplicable, ozvrcin. So open resources of the digital repository of scientific institutes. So among these institutions, among this large consortium, was 4 partners with biological collections. Open Forest Data, formerly EPUSZCza, was the project led by Mammal Research Institute in Białowieża and Technical University of Białystok. Then Pomeranian universities in possession of herbaria joined the forces and create Herbarium Pomeranicum. which gives access to some very nice collections of the Pomerania region. And the largest project, which I had the privilege to be leader of, was INBio, largest not in terms of the budget, because our budget was not the largest one, but in terms of the scope of the data. So we mobilized the most, and our data were the most diverse. So and the number of players was also too big. Actually, hardly finished the project, but of course I'm very proud that we managed to do it. So it was a consortium of 18 partners. So this is the list of partners I have. I cannot thank all of them again. So the project lasted 3 years, and our achievements, our current status, was improved thanks to the effects of this project. And the main scope, main focus was on basic digitization, and labels and other information was transcribed and opened to GBIF. So the most important thing is that all these projects were almost all declared, at least, and most of them have it done already or will do it soon, that GBIF becomes the main external repository. So all this data, or almost all the data digitized throughout these projects, will be accessible through GBIF. So project INBio was about the integration and mobilization data from resources of our 18 partners. And then the challenge was that the data were very distributed and very diverse. They were coming from different sources, from collections, from bibliography, from card files, and from outdated legacy databases. And they represented all very different groups of organisms. Actually, I had the only limits was eukaryotes. So all organisms possessing nucleus were at our focus. So there were a large group of specialists dealing with this data. And the solution to link them, to merge them, was only possible to use the common data format, wspólny format danych. So we decided to create a large table based on Darwin core, but extending it a bit. So this is like a very, very large definition of fields and atomized content of biological data. Which you can easily divide, or roughly divide into 4 large groups: taxonomy, location, time, and metadata. Metadata is a very broad and not very easy to define container. So those 4 groups were further divided into fields. So location could be represented as coordinates, as grid coordinates, as names of localities. Species could be described using higher taxonomy, could include the name of status name, so we were aware of synonymy problems. The metadata was actually in terms of pure numbers, the most abundant, most numerous container for different types of fields. So in this definition, the metadata are about the authors of the data, collections, identifiers. Also contain the numbers, identifier meaning the number defining the records themselves. So collection numbers, UUIDs, and other type of numeric identifiers or text identifiers that identify every record in the database. And combination of all those 4 fields give us the occurrence. Occurrence meaning that this is a occurrence record of the occurrence of a species in that place and time. So in the ideal state, each record could be presented as a point of the map, showing the presence of a species in a certain place and certain time. So the data digitization process was quite simple in theory, so that, sorry, not on everything was translated. So the transcriptions of the data, standardization to the common data format, and then all the data were aggregated in the Postgres database, then curated for taxonomy and for GIS. Because we accumulated more than 9 million records, actually even not all the data are already provided with some coordinates. Everything depended on the state of the initial data. Most of the tasks were successfully finished. And the additional effect was the standardization of collection, because out of 2 million specimens included in this project, all specimens obtained the barcode, paper barcode, or which enables us in the future to more easily find them and to make the order in the collection. So the data coverage from this particular project is quite large. Of course, the most of the data come from Poland, but actually some of them were collected even in New Caledonia. Colleagues from Wrocław University, for example, colleagues from fishery. No, it's Institute of Oceanology of Polish Academy of Sciences, where have been studied the northern seas. So this is the image of collections and other data digitized through this project. And final results I will show you tomorrow during the 4th session. The data are available at the new Biomap portal, which so far contains only the results of the INBio project. Now we successfully achieved new funds for development of the GBIF cooperation. So it is called the Polish GBIF Node project, Polski Węzeł GBIF. We started last year, and the project should actually in 2023. But in 2024, the project was extended. So we have the financial contribution to GBIF secured, and we have money for extending our activities and for work packages, including further development of digital catalog of biodiversity of Poland, which we are going to update it and extend it with molecular data. We have some funds for supporting integration of collections, so to create metadata of the collection themselves and to digitize some important, the most prominent type specimen collections of our partners who decided to join this project. We have a program to develop the group of data managers whose role is to find, process, and clean the data and to be able to publish them to GBIF. So I hope that after this project, will be ready to increase the capacity of Polish data available through the network. We have 15 institutions partnering in this particular part. And of course, this conference is organized thanks to this funds, and we are going to give a number of workshops having having GBIF techniques and GBIF routines as a main topic of the training. So we successfully started with the biodiversity data mobilization workshop. The next one will be the workshop focused on metabarcoding data, and then biodiversity data use. This is our team, coordination team of the project. Julia Pawłowska, Agnieszka Rudak, Karolina Kuczkowska, and me. And there is also a group of colleagues from developing our software, which will be presented tomorrow. And we have secured funding for the development of IT infrastructures. I hope that after which this project, our capacities and will be greatly extended. So these are some memories from the recent project. In January, we hosted the training here. Almost 30 people came, and from different institutions, and we had trainers from GBIF, Doug Andresen and Jørgen Kruvels, and they are colleagues from the Norwegian and Dutch GBIF node. So it was a great opportunity for our data managers to learn directly from the source, and it is much easier and much more attractive way to make a contact with live GBIF. So the focus was on Darwin Core, data standards, data quality, and data publishing through integrated publishing toolkit. This is the summary of our state as it was some years ago. 5 years ago, we have just, of course, it's a large number, 1.6 million occurrence records. But in 2023, after the first digitalization projects ended, it was already more than 6 million. And now it's almost 16 million. The number itself does not represent anything meaningful because the data can have different quality. The effort which has to be put into obtaining the same amount of records is different depending on the topic. So it's much easier to observe 1,000 birds than to collect 1,000 specimens of insects, for example, and curate them in collection. So the numbers themselves are not very meaningful. They just say in comparison to other countries, they just say about the effort put into the development of the infrastructure into this kind of activities. So the more records we have, the more it means that more active we are. So this is the meaning of this kind of maps, actually. So it's not a distribution map, it's just distribution of effort or distribution of locations where we had something to be said about. One of the product of our activities is the digital catalog of biodiversity of Poland, which is currently 107 data sets covering all the taxa of eukaryotes and cyanobacteria. So we hope to develop it still using the money from this project, and I hope soon it will become, it has a chance to become a standard for Polish biodiversity data, and I hope it will be useful for our partners from other institutions. It is developed by more than 150 people. So each group is authored by a number of specialists. and soon they will be provided with a tool to control it and to make it more alive and to be able to update it and extend it online, not without using Excel sheets as we used to do in the past. So now I'm going to finish. I'm sorry for the extension. The data landscape, biodiversity data landscape in Poland, it's a simplified view, very simplified view. We can divide the institutions possessing the data in Poland, we can divide into two groups. So-called environment, which its units and entities dependent on the Ministry of Climate and Environment, which is General Directorate of Environmental Protection, General Inspectorate of Environmental Protection, their subordinate units, regional units. There is a large database of state forestry, data bank about forests, Bank Danych o Lasach, and some other minor databases controlled by national parks. And of course, there is much more distributed, more separated data sets, which are in capacities of other institutions. And there is our part, which is, I call it science. Of course, it's not only us, but science means that most of this part, most of the institutes at this part depend on the Ministry of Science and Higher Education. So many of them have their own data sets. Some of them create small partnerships, consortia, like Pomeranian universities, for example. And the rest, or many of the rest, decided to cooperate with us, with GBIF Poland, with our university, where we could call it star schema. And there is a centralized database which is fed by the databases and data resources of the individual partners. So there are many models. We don't try to force anybody to follow, to join us. We are looking for solutions to link all players together. Of course, I didn't mention the citizen science data sets, data sources, and organizations which are not institutions. So I just here simplified the view to cover the institutions. Of course, it may be that the view may be not complete, and it's of course not the whole story, because there are many data connections. So many institutions from the right side report to the left, especially to GBIF. And the main question is what to do, how to connect our resources, what solution could be the best for the future, in which direction we should look for, what solution we should look for to make the data flow efficient and to respond to our needs. So I think GBIF is a good way, because currently all or many of the right side institutions publish the data to GBIF, using GBIF as a platform independent on their own infrastructures, and the data from the right side are more and more visible through GBIF. If we achieve the same on the left, then GBIF can be independent tool to access the data from Poland. And of course, we can build, based on GBIF, we can try to build common infrastructures and common software solutions enabling us to see and make use of the data for our own needs, using the open and shared data which are available. just a quick look of the comparison of resources of the left side and right side. So these are maps, some example maps from data aggregated by Ministry of Environment, from these agencies under Ministry of Climate and Environment. So this is an example of a GAL where the data about the species are quite scarce, and in GBIF it has almost 2,000 records. So if the example is true, if the view is complete, I'm not sure, of course, then it shows that the data present in GBIF, which are probably completely different data points than these ones, can supply and can make the view more complete. And this is a opposite example of the Asian ladybird, which is very common everywhere, but GBIF does not know too much about Poland. We can see the comparison between the reports reported by the Western colleagues, and here it looks like there is a clear border of the information capacity, information volume about this species. Another story. Again, there is some information about the very rare owl, and here it is absolutely not yet present in GBIF, which is of course about some scarcity of data and lack of cooperation with the fellow ornithologists. So, what are the benefits? This is the last slide, as far as I remember. The benefits of sharing the data. So they are obvious for the science, because we need the access to representative data, and science needs data. So the more data we have, the more lucky, more happy we are. The ministry requires the data to be shared in the according to FAIR directive. So it is. The GBIF gives us this fulfillment of these conditions. For Ministry of Climate and Environment, the data, if they have access to the data we share, then their predictions for future will be more representative, more powerful, and we can support them in fulfilling the requirements they have for reports to the European Union, for example. And both of us, both sides, will benefit from sharing the data about species, because missing data block both research and monitoring. We need both, and we can service each other. And the integration of the data will give us some synergy effects, because we can save some money on development of software. We can save money for investments in digitization, in building the infrastructure. And last but not least, it's the thing which is not obvious, but if you think about the broader view, you can realize that creating an efficient biodiversity data infrastructure makes our country stronger. We live in difficult times. It may seem that it is the stories I'm talking about, and the whole topic is for peaceful times, because when you have peace, you can protect your biodiversity. You have time for it. But actually, if we develop our information systems, we can react more quickly, more efficiently. The resilience of the country is not only the army; it's also information systems. Its capacity to find answers and solutions for epidemics, for different uses of biodiversity data. And I think the building strong infrastructures will be fruitful and very healthy for the whole country. So it was the last of my slides. Thank you very much. I'm sorry very much for the delay.